topic. This video I've been led to entitle Behave Like a Christian because there are certain ways and certain things that we have to do and responsibilities that we have as a Christian. Right now on YouTube, there's far too much fighting, backbiting, attacking, accusing, pointing fingers going on among Christians on YouTube right now. And we're not forgiving. We're not understanding. We're letting little misunderstandings blow up. We all know we're supposed to love, but why are we supposed to love? Now I know this is going to aggravate some people and piss some people off, but this is for everybody. If this is going to make you mad, then maybe you should start looking inward. John 15:11 and 12. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Amen? That our joy may be full. We will experience Jesus' joy. By loving others, it gives us a joy that you can't explain. John 13:35. By this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. It explains everything right there. By this all will know you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Unbelievers recognize us not by our works, not by any miracles, not by our doctrines, not by other things that we do. Unbelievers recognize us as Christians by the love that we have for one another. Ephesians 3:17 through 19. That Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may be able to comprehend with all the saints what is the width, the length, and the depth, and the height, to know the love of Christ, which passes knowledge, that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. We may be filled with the fullness of God. If we're loving others, we will be filled with His gifts and His knowledge. And Christ will dwell, Jesus will dwell in our hearts. He will live in our hearts. Only if we have love for each other and we show His love. Okay, reasons we should love others. So our joy will be full. We will have unspeakable joy. To be a true witness, unbelievers recognize us by our love for each other. Jesus will live in our hearts, and we will be filled with the fullness of God. Okay, now, who do we love? Matthew 22:37-39. Jesus said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. First and foremost, we love God, not Allah, not the world, or the things of the world, but God and God alone. Secondly, we love each other. Pretty explanatory. Galatians 5:14 and 15. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even if in this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, beware, lest you be consumed by one another. Amen? You know, when we follow the flesh and walk in the world, we begin to criticize, argue, and fight with each other. Those who criticize excuse me, and attack usually end up being consumed by worldly thoughts and worthless struggles. See, now we know we're only supposed to love those who agree with us, right? We only love those who love us. We only love those who tell us how great we are. Is that right? We only love those who agree with us all the time. Matthew 5:43 and 44. You have heard that it is said, by the Pharisees, they always said this, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. Says it all right there. You're not a Christian if you only love those who love you. Even if somebody hates you, you love them. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass and clinking cymbal. If you don't have love, you're only making noise. You can make all the videos you want and profess to be a Christian and say all the right words. But if you don't have love, you're just making noise. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profiteth nothing. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself around and is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. But whether there be prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. But the greatest of these is love. It's all right here. We know what the words are. Let's stop behaving as Christians. Agape.